I don't care who hit whom.
I'm Gwyneth's lawyer. So if I don't do this right, I could kill myself.
Hi, welcome to court. I'm Lawyer Leo, and let me tell you about the weirdest case that I've ever seen in my life. It happened just a few weeks ago, and I was utterly confused, and also, I couldn't look away. It's a case that lasted only 8 days, a civil trial case, and of course, it features a celebrity. I know what you're thinking. It sounds like Amber Heard is back to her old tricks.
Check it out.
But it's not. It's a different celebrity woman, and her name is Gwyneth Paltrow. Now, if you haven't heard about this case, in 2016, Gwyneth Paltrow was skiing down a hill. She somehow crashed into an old fart, and he then proceeded to sue her for $3 million. The problem was, he didn't sue her the minute it happened. He sued her 3 years later. 2 years after that, it went to trial, and now we have a civil case in which the strangest things I've ever seen in a courtroom happen. You've got things like probably two of the worst trial lawyers I think I've ever seen, because they're civil lawyers. We've got random kissing ass in the middle of all of this, where the female lawyer is like a huge fan of Gwyneth Paltrow. Nobody seems to know what they're saying. Everyone's stuttering around, not knowing what they're gonna do. I think they're all shell-shocked from the fame. We've got Gwyneth Paltrow, who doesn't seem to want to be there, of course. And we've got another person called Terry Sanderson, who's the person suing. And he, somehow, is worse.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
It is honestly a case for the ages. So I'd love to take you through it. I've carefully curated what I think is the best footage from this 8-day trial. It lasted in total about 80 hours, and I've cut it down to maybe 30 minutes of the best footage. Hopefully I can give you a good assessment of it and take you through the whole story of the trial, why it exists, and what the outcome is. And if you like any of the Lawyer Leo videos, please subscribe so I can get to law school. I can't afford it right now because I'm broke, because I'm busy sitting in a suit, no pants on, talking about cases that didn't invite me to it. Gwyneth, I could have been your lawyer. I would have charged you just clout, just a little clout, and I would have won the case for you. I'm not going to spoil the case. If you haven't seen it, anyone could win, but I'm going to take you through it now. So a little background info. In 2016, February 26th, the skiing incident occurred. Terry Sanderson was going down a hill. Gwyneth Paltrow was going down the same hill. She crashed into him. Now, in most cases, if you're doing a sport like skiing or maybe NASCAR racing and someone crashes into you, the first instinct is not to sue them. But when you see that person is rich and has status, maybe, you know, this is America. You might want to sue. And that is what Terry Sanderson did. He is a retired optometrist who is also, ironically, blind in one eye. I know, it writes itself. Apparently, Sanderson suffered so many injuries that the list made it to trial. You will see in the case that he doesn't seem to have any injuries other than his ego damaged, and Gwyneth Paltrow constantly looks unamused whenever she's seen on camera. Somehow 3 years later, Terry Sanderson is like, ouch, it finally hurt. So he took it to trial. He filed a lawsuit and he wanted $3.1 million in damages. That was thrown out because everyone was like, that's way too much money for a skiing accident. So he's like, okay, I'll settle for $300,000. So I'm gonna call him Terry. I'll take what I can get Sanderson from now on. 10% of what he was actually suing for, he settled for. And even that didn't actually happen because that's the amount that's going to trial. In return, Gwyneth Paltrow countersued for a whopping $1, which is a hilarious play, and also something from the Taylor Swift handbook, which she did to the music industry in about 2009. Hey, quick cut-in. My new single, Heartbreak Motel, will be released this Friday. But before it's released, I need your help with a little favor. If you could pre-save the song by clicking the link in the description, it would really help my chances of getting on playlists. And who knows, the song might even get popular. In case you want to listen to a preview first, I put one here. Remember, click the link in the description, stream it when it comes out, and I might even do a music video. Thank you so much.
Heartbreak, I'll be at the heartbreak, come see me. Just checked in and I'm never leaving. I know this place is seedy, yeah, believe me. I leave the key on the door if you need me. I'll be at the heartbreak, come see me. Just checked in and I'm never leaving. I know this place is seedy, yeah, believe me. I leave the key on the door if you need me.
So So Terry Sanderson says that the damages include his mental state, depression, anxiety, many other things that he hasn't had before the crash. Gwyneth Paltrow says that you're just doing this to try and gain fame and clout and also money. And 2023, here we are having this delusional case, almost exactly 1 year to the date of the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. So I don't know if people are making celebrity trials a thing. I'm all here for it if that's the case, because I would love to see James Franco explain himself. That would be a hell of a trial. So a couple things about this case. Yes, I am brown, and this is by far the whitest case that I've ever seen. I watched the OJ trial. That's like some real stuff. Even the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. It's not.
My dog stepped on a bee.
You know, that's some serious stuff. A skiing incident where two people who are equally out of touch with reality have a competition to see who can further cause a delusion. That's new. That's new. I would like to say that one side is a clear winner, but both of them are hilarious in their own ways. Gwyneth Paltrow, for those of you who don't know, is famous for acting and more so her brand Goop, where she sells vagina-scented candles. And other things that are just beyond white to me. I don't understand most of the things that she does, but I can definitely understand someone trying to sue her and get money from her for nothing. So let me take you now to the case and we'll look at some of the things that happened and what led to the decision. I will say, from a pseudo-lawyer standpoint, which I'm very good at, I think this is one of the loosest trials I've ever seen. It's probably looser than your grandma's panties. This is why they didn't accept me at law school. There is little to no objections in this whole thing. Because they're civil lawyers, they don't normally do this in front of people, let alone being filmed on public TV and being broadcast to the world. Both of them seem scared. There's no particular good defendant, or the prosecution and the defense are equally bad. Actually, I think they're in competition to see who's worse. I, at many points, wanted to drink myself to death.
Can you tell the time?
Yes. I am not fucking drunk.
Watching this. So the only person who's chill AF is the lawyer, and I'm pretty sure before, after, and even during 8-day trial, 100% unanimous verdict, a load of bullshit. Let's go. Opening statement of this dude. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe so you can help me get to law school, because I will definitely go to law school if I get 1 million subscribers and finally reach my dream of becoming a lawyer Leo. For real low. Also, follow me at sixteenleo_, and if you have any trials that you would like me to look up, please send it to me. Or do the work for me. That would be good. Thank you. I hate looking up research. I just want to react. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, distracted skiers cause crashes.
So these are the opening statements. Normally, an opening statement will be something like a quick, brief statement to say, this is what you're going to expect, and this is how my client or maybe this person would react and what we hope to achieve. Because you're trying to convince the jury that your person is right in whatever they're doing. These two people use the opening statements to do the whole case. And because the judge is so chill AF, I'm pretty sure he's sleeping or doing something else other than listening to this. I don't know why they have their whole case in the opening statement. It's so long and so stupid. But anyway, go on.
Well, before this crash, Terry was a charming, outgoing.
The opening statement is basically Gwyneth Paltrow was skiing recklessly and she hit this dude who wasn't even looking. She went down a mountain at like 100 miles an hour. She's basically like a NASCAR car, and she smacked him. And he's been hurt, like not only physically, but mentally because of this. And this is what they're trying to prove in court. They're also going to use techniques that make Terry Sanderson, the person in the middle of this whole thing, seem like he's much weaker than he is. And it's really funny when people have to do that, because they have to exaggerate it for the jury so that they can actually be like, oh, I feel so sorry for him. They have to call him things like weak and maybe stupid and also blind. I don't know what you would do for $3 million, but his dignity is being put on trial, if nothing else.
He was a retired eye doctor. He was living a full life. He's no longer charming.
Oh, God. Within the first 30 seconds, the opening statement, they called Terry Sanderson. They said that he used to be a charming fellow until he got hit from behind with Gwyneth Paltrow. And now he's charm-free. She knocked the charm out of his ass. This is the opening statement. You'll also realize very, very quickly in this case that we are dealing with almost zero evidence. We have one key witness who apparently saw the whole incident, and I'm not sure how he qualifies as a witness, because when you look at the footage, footage, which by the way is animated. They don't even have footage of the incident. They animate it, and the person who is the key witness was like 100 feet away. So this trial is mostly guessing. It's like playing Cluedo as an adult, and you're just not drunk enough to enjoy it. This is what the trial is. Carry on.
We asked Terry to step out during this part because I didn't want to rub his. What do you mean by that?
Sorry, I did that. But realistically, I've never seen a trial in which the person who is suing the other person gets to step out randomly. I thought you had to be present at all times. I guess in this courtroom, you can do whatever the hell you want, whenever you want. So Terry sometimes just isn't there.
That the value of the damages done to Terry Sanderson is $3,276,000.
So yes, Ferris Bueller over here finally got back to school, and he said the damages is worth $3.2 million.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
Can you imagine skiing into someone and then having to pay $3.2 million? That is a case weaker than some coffee that looks transparent. You know what I mean? This is already a very weak case. If I got hit with Gwyneth Paltrow on my back, I would expect genuinely a very sincere apology. Maybe a handshake, honestly. Maybe a goop vagina candle.
So good and tasty.
Wow, Gwyneth, you need to have, oh God, stop eating eggs. You know what I mean? Just something that's a little less than $3.2 million. Tone it down a little bit, which is what everybody at the court actually found to be the case, because Terry Sanderson took it from $3.2 million to $300,000, as we said. I'm not sure why the lawyer said $3.2 million, because that was not the agreed upon sum. But anyway, that's the opening statement. So they're going to try and prove with evidence that this crash was worth $3.2 million. Let's hear the opening statement from Gwyneth Paltrow's lawyer. Now, I will say, her lawyer blows my mind. She is a rich person, and her net worth is $250 million. She is worth $250 million. So as I watched this case, I thought to myself one thing. Why, if you are worth so much money, would this be your lawyer? What the hell? Did you find him at a kindergarten? Why? Her team consists of a old dude who says, okay, cool, in court, which I don't think is a proper term. He also says stuff he shouldn't.
The utter BS.
And stutters over everything. And her other lawyer is someone who has braces. So he looks like he's genuinely in kindergarten. I don't know why she hired them, but it is comedic value to no end. Let's look at their opening statement. Now the other dude gets to speak.
Unlike a car accident or something, a ski collision is different.
Interesting take. Unlike a car accident, skiing is different. I guess one of the main differences between riding in a car and skiing would be a steering wheel, right? Are we done with the rudimentary stuff? Or is it because I don't wear a tie, I'm a cool lawyer? Is that what it is, dude?
Inherent risks of skiing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's pause and just look into that. Apparently, there are inherent risks of skiing, but driving a car, you should be fine. That's why so many people don't get injured in cars. But as soon as you put on a pair of those skis, they might land up someone's ass.
If I don't do this right, I could kill myself.
This is an opening statement, by the way. I've never known a lawyer to be so interpersonal before, where he talks about his own experiences in life. I think he's doing a technique where he's trying to connect to the audience. Sorry, the jury. And I gotta say, you have to understand, that's a very white thing. Skiing is not, I don't know many POCs who ski. I don't know many POCs who like the snow, to be honest with you. But you're not gonna win over 12 jurors if you're like, yeah, you know, we all ski. Come on, guys, it's, everybody does it. Maybe not. Maybe it's more of a privilege thing, right? If you want to appeal to every man, don't do that. Also, weird how you're talking about death, but carry on.
It's a breathtaking, wonderful... Okay, let me...
Did he just say that skiing, has risk of killing you, and then immediately after proceed to say it's breathtaking and wonderful? Sir, do you need help? Logic has a number in which you could call. He's got that song, 0800 69 69 69. Maybe you should call that if you're having issues with that. I don't think this guy is making an opening statement. I think this is his closing statement for life. Please seek help if this is what you're doing.
Let me move on that. And I can tell you, we believe it to be utter BS.
Oh, well, here's the thing that you can't do in court. Listen, when you're making statements as a lawyer, you can't just argue things, right? Your job is not to just spout out bullshit, people are gonna object to that, because if you just say some random shit that's either leading or hearsay or in your case, whatever the fuck that is, people are gonna object to that, right?
Objection, Your Honor. Argument. We're supposed to present what he's going to show, not argue it.
Yeah, well, objection. He's saying some real colloquial crap that shouldn't be said in an opening statement, because you're not a lawyer from the hood. You're a damn lawyer. You gotta speak like one, you know? You can't call stuff BS. That's not your position. This is what we, in a court of law, unfortunately, it would be very nice to be able to speak colloquially, wouldn't it? Your Honor, this bitch keeps lying. Your Honor, fuck her. She's shit, and I have evidence to prove it. Oh, look at her high school picture. Or I rest my case. It would be very nice, wouldn't it? But that's not how we do things.
He's suing for $3 million. You should pay attention more to the records before someone's thinking lawsuit than the records after someone's thinking lawsuit.
I mean, if I was Gwyneth Paltrow's lawyer, wink wink, I would bring up the fact that $3 million has no place in this at all. I don't see the amount of damages accumulated. You'll later see this man didn't even go to the doctor after it happened, because he didn't think that it was that big of a deal. He also goes on to live a fruitful life afterwards. So the amount that he's suing for should be enough for most jury members to think that is a very stupid and wild amount in which he's reaching for the stars and trying to get anything he can cling on to, right? For some reason, nobody seems to bring this up on Gwyneth's side, and I think that the amount that they're asking for is ridiculous in any sense of the word. Carry on.
I'll tell you what, I want to hit.
At this point, your boy over here loses his marbles and starts stuttering his way through the opening statement. I don't know if there's a time limit or there's a word limit, but he seems like he's trying to reach it.
I wanted to emphasize, and then I also want to just reference to you that, let me hit the accident, because I don't...
Yeah, why don't you get onto the accident? You're just getting a bit off track here. You're trying to sound a bit like Eminem when he's rapping, you know, just hitting every syllable possible.
I wanted to emphasize, and then I also want to just reference to you that, let me hit the accident, because I don't...
Good for you, but maybe not in court.
I'd be silly to address other issues.
Oh, there's the zombie hands.
Paltrow has sentimental feelings about skiing. Her dad, who left this life too early.
This is not an opening statement. This is just some bullshit. This is what you'd say in a closing statement, where you assess the case, bring upon any feelings or any judgments that you would like the audience to feel, and maybe last thoughts that they can linger on to before making their decision. If you do this in an opening statement, throughout the 8, 9, 10 days, they're gonna forget. If you want to reiterate it, sure, but this is a very weird thing to put in an opening statement. Don't really get it.
Took her skiing as a kid. In fact, after her dad died in his 50s, she didn't ski for a long time because it was an emotional thing for her.
I'm gonna spoil it for you a little bit. He does say this in his closing statement, so I don't know if this man had an opening statement. I think he just had a piece of paper with a drawing off like a girl with the boobs on it, and he was like, whoa, oh yeah, I got a case. Man, Gwyneth Paltrow's dad died. Damn, those double D's? Huh? Yeah, nah, she's sad. He brings up a story about her dad and her skiing, and it's supposed to be a sentimental one, but it's said and shoehorned into the opening statement so fast that nobody has any time to connect or have any context as to why it's brought up. I'll talk about it later, but this is just really messy, man.
She had a boyfriend at the time.
Oh, we're talking about her love life as in the opening statement. Oh, okay.
And he has kids the exact same age as Gwyneth's daughter and son.
Oh, I suppose he has the same color clothes as her too. Wow. What else does her boyfriend, now her husband, have? Do they have rings that match? Wow. And now that I know all this information, what am I gonna do with it, dude? What does this have to do with anything? It's about a skiing crash, okay? What are we talking about right here in the opening statement?
Oddly, the daughter is the same age as the daughter and the son as the son.
Alright, yep. She's got a car that's the same age as her husband. She's got a kitchen that's the same color as him. This is great. Very good. Are you connecting all the dots right now, Sherlock? But we have a whole 8 days left of this, and if I have to listen to you for 7 more, Terry Sanderson might win the case of boredom.
Suddenly, she sees 2 skis appear between her skis, and a man comes behind her.
So the angle that the defense is going with, weirdly, very weirdly, is a sensual one. They're talking about harassment, sort of, and it is just as bad of an argument as what the prosecution is doing. It's one of these weird trials where you want both people to lose somehow. I just never heard of two people this delusional before. What the defense is trying to say is that Gwyneth Paltrow thought that someone was skiing down a mountain and had time to somehow look at her booty and then be like, I need me a piece of that while skiing down a mountain. That is some extreme form of harassment. I've never seen that before in my life. Someone's going down a mountain, they have about 2 seconds to touch it and then zoom off into the sunset. This is the angle they're going with. It's the wrong angle, but all right.
His skis are intertwined now with hers.
Sounds like a love story to me, bro.
Did you ran into me? And Gwyneth's like, no. Terry's story, by the way, is that he's coming across and he sees a struggling younger woman, not younger, struggling.
Oh my god, dude. Are you serious? Did you eat edibles or something? Did you have, maybe get a note? Hire one of those people with cards like on SNL where you can read it. Are you out of your mind? Is all of your opening statement this? Terry, Thank you, Your Honor. I'm gonna go to the car park to cry.
Female, not young skier. It hasn't worked out today. And he was sort of personally a little upset. Okay, everyone's okay? Everyone's okay. All right.
Then he makes a, beautiful discovery. He talks about Gwyneth Paltrow's son being personally upset as opposed to metaphorically upset, holistically upset, generally upset, happily upset. I don't really know. It's just the syntax sometimes. It's the vernacular and just the way that he says it. Just fantastic, buddy. Fantastic. In this opening statement, we hear the side of the story of Gwyneth Paltrow. We also somehow hear this guy talking about Terry's side of the story, which their lawyers should object to, but for some reason, nobody's objecting to this. This seems to be all good in the court of law here.
He comes right on Gwyneth. He back turns with his better eye. What the F word? Take that out of your mind.
Right. Okay. So someone's coming on someone, and then what the F makes an appearance into court. I never heard anybody in life say what the F word before. They should allow drinks in court if this is how it's going to go down.
Craig Ramon. Their so-called first skier.
Okay. Seriously? Is this really an actual court case, or is this an SNL skit?
Objection!
Have you ever seen a lawyer do bunny ears before? Is this even allowed in a court of law? Hey, our witness, if his name really is Craig Ramon. Yeah, this is a court case, and you're a judge, you know what I mean? You're a bitch. We got bunny ears in the court. This is a first. Things I've never heard. What the F word? Bunny ears in a court, and that's utter BS said by a lawyer. I'm learning so much today.
Objection, argument, Your Honor.
That is argument.
Overruled?
Oh, then not.
Okay, well, in the middle of this weird court procession, prosecution objects. Even the lawyer who is speaking is so bad that even he is like, yeah, I do argue a lot. That is argument. And the judge probably wasn't listening and was just like, nah, it's fine. To which the lawyer says something that's not even English. If you play that back.
Oh, then not. Then eight.
He's speaking in like some avatar language or something.
Oh, then not. Then eight.
This even catches the lawyer off guard because he's so bad that at this point he's like, damn, I suck. If anybody says objection, I'm just gonna agree with them. What kind of lawyer is you, bruh?
I shouldn't call him Terry.
You shouldn't, though. Exactly. Are we being a little bit crazy in court right now, bro? We're being a little crazy. You're gonna call the judge Darian? Hey, Darian. Yo, what's the verdict? Gwyneth and I like to say that Terry, this fuck, is guilty. Also, I'm gonna go home to my kids, Jason and Jingy, and we're gonna have some fun. I know, my wife calls him Jingy. Weird. He's very informal in court, which is just the sign of someone who's not, he's not a criminal lawyer, not probably had the case of this levity before. Just weirdly calling everyone by their first names, just like, what's up? Terry, I mean, oops, my bad, G. Try, bro. Try and act like a little more court-mannered, like.
He feels confused, he says.
Yeah. So that's basically the opening statement for this guy. He fumbles around, fumbles the bag, picks it up, drop kicks it to another country, and doesn't chase it. I am so surprised that Gwyneth didn't fire him there and then. Those are the opening statements. So basically, we have a small case of two people colliding, and it's more of a he said, she said. Somehow this gets taken to court. I don't know how. There's $3.2 million on the line. The biggest he said, she said of all time, I think. Do we have evidence of the case?
Nope.
No GoPros were used in the area. It was 2016 when it happened. You'd think that somebody would have a GoPro or an iPhone or a camera. Seemingly nobody on the premise did. What we do have is DreamWorks animation. And let me tell you, the animation is so amazing. I'm so glad Gwyneth and her team got the biggest budget to do this. And let's take a look at the animation. Oh my god, it's like Finding Nemo 2. So, we have some of the classic characters in Finding Nemo, like Woman, Ramon, Moses, that guy's from the Bible, Apple, that's a computer. Gwyneth Paltrow named her daughter Apple. Sanderson and Paltrow. So we got all the classic characters from Finding Nemo 2, and the animation looks crisp as ever. So yeah, no, in this absolute shit show, we have witnesses and also experts who give testimonies on how physically things should happen. This is basically one big hypothetical that somehow went to court. And we have people like this, people who are breaking down an animated video that looks like it was done in the year 1986. Basically, each of the two people are claiming that the other person knocked into them. Gwyneth says that Sanderson hit her back, and he says that she hit his back. And I think that the animation is showing him hitting first. I'm not sure which one's right, but I will say, you guys really got Snow right. Did you do the animation that morning? What? Why?
And if there's anything you want to comment on as it happens, feel free.
You know what? Maybe Gwyneth Paltrow should lose the case. If she's gonna ski like this on a mountain, one, that's very scary. I've never seen someone ski with that amazing posture before. Legs that wide open. And two, my goodness, you look like Slender Man if he really, really had to chase people on snow. This is really bad. Wow. She's making those tons.
I think that accurately reflects.
The person in the background is the person who saw everything happen. It looks like he's really far away, but if you go back to the initial video, he's not just really far away, he's almost out of the picture. And this is the key witness. This case is a joke. This case is a long 8-day April Fool's joke, is what I think this is.
It's coming up. Here we go. There's contact. Fall.
Yes, so the expert testimony on gravity and science and everything else that he said, he makes an important point throughout this. We're watching a trial, we're deep into it, and he says something that most people need to realize. We don't know is the words that he says, because at no point do we know. When you're in a criminal law case, usually when you have things in a court of law, and especially American law, you have to prove that a person is guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Because if they're considered innocent if you can't prove beyond reasonable doubt that they've done something. You need evidence that is clear cut. Otherwise, everything just happens to be hearsay. This is what conviction is. And going to a civil court just doing this, I just don't know how this works. Gwyneth Paltrow's young lawyer with braces then comes out to ask his questions.
You've done a careful analysis from a biomechanical engineer's perspective on what different scenarios might be likely or how they would happen, correct?
Can you believe in this case, they got a biomechanical engineer. I'm pretty sure they have some neurologists. They have a lot of doctors here to testify. I'm so surprised they didn't resurrect Nelson Mandela to ask his opinion on this shit. Where's Gandhi when you need him? Honestly, can we get Martin Luther King back? Can we get him for one day? He keeps having dreams. Can someone wake him up?
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
So we can ask him, what the hell is happening with Gwyneth Paltrow and her skis?
That's all for now, Your Honor.
That's all for now, Your Honor, is the way that they end the animation. Now, let's go to witnesses and experts. As I said, there's a lot of people who testified. There's only one key witness for some reason, but you'll hear from people like Terry Sanderson's daughters, Gwyneth Paltrow's daughters, and a lot of other people. I had to cut it down because a lot of people really didn't matter in this case. If people weren't there, the only thing that they're doing is building character. And we don't have enough time for that in this case, let alone one that only lasts 8 days. Especially for something as small as a skiing accident, this really doesn't seem relevant. It just seems overbloated. So I've cut it down to the key witness and a few other people. I really don't think we need as much as the court did. Witness is an expert.
Probably before the ski crash.
First witness is my boy Craig Ramon. That's an actual name. I don't really trust a man who has 2 names that are his first name. Craig Ramon? That sounds like a name I would make up. I can't, this is not. Craig Ramon. John Jeff. That's my... Oh shit, is that John Jeff walking down the street? No, that's a fake name.
Scott, the thing you did not see was Terry was knocked out cold. I asked Terry what his name was and he did not know. Scott, it scared the hell out of me.
The key witness is, as we've talked about, Craig Ramon, a guy who was skiing maybe 100 feet behind. He did not necessarily see something, but he did message on that day saying he did. So he was basically sworn in as the key witness to the case, and he is very much on the side of Terry Sanderson.
You typed that, correct?
Yes, I did. I'm not sure who Very T is.
So that is Craig Ramon, the key witness. He would go on to testify, and he also would go on to say things like, I don't know who Very T is, after messaging him. And the fact that this whole trial is about a guy called Terry Sanderson, Very T probably means him, since he's talking about how he crashed to you, Craig. I swear to God, you get these old people up on stand that don't know anything. He's like, who is that Very T? I'm messaging Terry. His name's Very T. That's probably Chinese or like Middle Eastern name. No, that is.
Very T comments and see if it look at Very T. Are you able to recognize?
Takes him like literally 10 minutes to realize Very T probably is Terry, the person he's talking to about the crash. Again, I want to stress that he's been having a conversation with him in these texts, and in the text, the person called Very T is talking about how he had a skiing accident. And this man couldn't put 2 and 2 together that he is Terry Sanderson, and he is the key witness who saw everything. If that doesn't ruin credibility for you, I don't know what does. In the middle of a court of law, when everybody's watching you and they're going to make a decision and you are the person who pretty much influences whether it is or it isn't, this is one of the worst flub-ups, I think.
He didn't know his name, and then he just took some time to kind of just think about it, and then he, you know, after about 4 or 5 seconds, he just said, Terry.
Thank you for that, not just explanation of that, but also he gave a little acting performance there. So apparently this man, Terry Sanderson, got knocked out, didn't even know his own name, until 5 seconds later he said, and I quote, Terry.
Mr. Sanderson was writing articulate notes like this after being knocked out and unconscious for 2 minutes.
It doesn't sound that articulate to me, but...
Wow, way to diss your homie randomly. The witness ends by saying he doesn't think what Terry writes is even very articulate. If I had to venture, one guess as to why Craig Ramon has come on and so vehemently defended his friend, who doesn't even seem like his friend because he didn't even recognize who he was in the profile picture for 10 minutes, I would guess money. I'm just guessing because I'm not in a court of law and I can do that. But if I had to pick motives for Craig Ramon, I would think Terry would guarantee him some of the earnings if he won the case. So Craig came out swinging, trying to, do everything in his power to influence the case. He didn't, but that was the key witness. That's the evidence we have. Everything's downhill from here, so I just want you to know that.
Tears are streaming down her eyes.
There's a quick shot that I want to add in of Terry's daughters. One of them I am going to look at more, but this is another one who cried on the stand, thinking that she could maybe influence the jury by showing her utter emotion. This is a classic thing people do when they're on the stand, especially if they're part of the family.
Welcome to the family, son.
Or have a bias for something. Acting is part of it. This is all a big theater case with an end result that nobody knows. That's all that law is at this point. Courtroom dramas make for amazing movies, and there's a reason. Because you have outbursts and all of these dramatic things. And a lot of it is just acting. I don't know. You tell me, do you think Terry's daughter's acting or not when she says this?
She is just... And I have never known my dad to raise his voice or scream.
Yes, so Terry's daughter is talking about how Terry raised his voice at a family member. She starts crying because she says her father never does that. And as I said before, this is one of those cases, in order for Terry to win, he has to be made to look bad. Because after the injury, he has to prove that he is living a very deteriorated and worse life than ever before. And that Gwyneth Paltrow has caused him to have a horrible life. So he's doing horrible things and he's blaming her. Like screaming at people. They have to turn him from someone who used to be a really good model citizen into basically present-day Charlie Sheen. Like just gangster, but all in the wrong ways.
I never knew my dad to have an anger management problem.
Well, that's contradictory.
Don't go 13 years without talking to like your sibling, right? That's more than just like most
I believe that to be true in my experience.
Is it a normal thing to go 13 years without talking to your sibling? I don't know. I've never went 13 years without talking to anyone. Okay, apparently that's a normal thing. The Terry family household, if you do something wrong, 13 years in the hole. Got it.
It's true everyone has interpersonal communication difficulties, but not everyone goes to their therapist for it. Do you agree?
I agree, but the smart ones do.
Oh, this is privilege right here. Okay, I'm going to take a quick second to have a personal gripe with the fact that this woman said smart people go to therapy, when that's not the case. Rich people go to therapy. Therapy's amazing. I think everybody not only should do it, but probably deserves it. And I think mental health is probably as important, if not more important, than physical health. So the fact that some countries have free physical, but when it's taking care of your mentality and your mental health, that's only for the rich people who can afford to pay $200 an hour to have someone listen to your issues. I think we need to fix that.
I would say he does have a tendency to hyperfocus.
And that was pre-collision, right?
Yes, way more so after the accident.
So the daughter is basically going to go with the theory of, I'm going to say that my dad used to be like this, but after the accident, he's way more like this.
But hey, that's just a theory.
And I'm going to try and hammer that home so the jury's like, oh, after Gwyneth Paltrow put her ski into my dad's butt, he's now a way worse person. And because they don't have evidence, they're going to try and use as many techniques as possible to persuade the jury into siding with them.
Trigger finger, do you know what that is?
Yeah.
I know what that is. There's so many reasons they don't invite me to court. This is one of them.
One of the medications he took, lorazepam or Ativan or trazodone, I think he took all three of those at one time.
Hold on. Basically, what Gwyneth Paltrow's lawyer is trying to do is poke holes in most of the prosecution's case. You know, saying that, like, this is probably all that happened before. If you guys are saying that he's a crazy individual, he probably already was.
Not at one time.
Yeah, because you would die.
I apologized throughout the years before.
Anyway, that is basically all of the witnesses. There are a couple doctors that I didn't show you. They talk about Terry Sanderson before the injury. Some of them talk about him after the injury. Other doctors testify that he hasn't shown any signs of changing. I don't know who to believe, and I don't know why anyone should be more credible than the rest. All I can say is that if they're trying to prove that Terry Sanderson is a worse person because of the skiing accident, don't think that they're going to get away with that. Let's move on to the two main people of this. First, we have Goopy Gwen taking the stand. So, as Gwyneth takes the stand, the lady lawyer comes to grill her. And grill is a very light term. This is sort of like a Nando's grilling, if you will. It's tasty because I'm pretty sure the lady lawyer has like a crush on Gwyneth Paltrow, or she's just really feeling that Gwyneth Paltrow. I didn't even know this was not her lawyer. I thought this was her lawyer because she's so soft with her and so like, oh, Gwyneth. She's probably just a little starstruck, and maybe this is not the time, but this is the kind of case we're dealing with.
Please. Fuck. F-U-K.
Come on. It was funny.
Could you state your name and spell it for the record, please? Gwyneth Kate Paltrow. P-A-L-T-G-W-Y-N-E-T-H-K-A-T-W-F-A-L-R-O-W-K.
It must be Scandinavian name. That spelling seems a little bit off to me, but that's how she spelt it in court. I didn't even edit that, probably.
You are pretty much an intermediate type skier. Okay.
Wow, so she's an intermediate skier, but she's been skiing since she was a child. Whoa, that's depressing. You've been doing this for your whole life and you're still not even good at it? Oh my god.
So as an intermediate skier, would you say that you've skied enough to at least be familiar with the rules of skiing? I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think even if you didn't ski, you would know the rules of skiing is not to crash into someone. That's probably good rules.
All right, and what are those rules? Common sense, ski safely, be aware of other skiers around you.
What about skiing in control? Is that something that you need to do?
No. What the lawyer's trying to do is bold. Case sometimes they ask easier questions and then progress to harder questions. The person on the stand feel more comfortable. Could be to build a little rapport between them. It could be just to influence the jury and to give them context before asking harder questions. If she asks any harder, more pressing questions, I would at least say, oh, I see where you're going with this. But this lady continues to ask questions like, do you know what a ski is?
Yes.
Do you have snow?
Yes.
Do you like it?
Yes.
Those are your real lashes, bitch?
Absolutely. He said, I'm going to leave all of your information, and he said you should go ski down because my kids were waiting for me.
And I appreciate that, but my question was, did you know of the rule of skiing if you are in a collision that you need to share that information?
Gwyneth Paltrow is just so used to speaking that she'll say anything if you ask her a question. The question was very simple. It was rudimentary yes or no. Most of the time you take the stand, you can basically do the job. This lawyer is, again, so nice that she's not even mad at it. She's like, Gwyneth, that's a really good story, man. You got to tell me that over lunch, which we should go to, honestly, on you. Yeah, no, that's not what I asked. I just asked, are you okay? You didn't have to tell me your life story. But I loved it, though. I'll listen to it on VHS.
So I just want to kind of set the stage. You're skiing that day. My understanding, it was nice conditions, beautiful day.
Did this girl come from 1983? Did she just walk out of a time machine and say, holy shit, Michael Jackson's Thriller's about to come out. I need to dress in a pastel blue suit and wear a sitcom like... I don't even... She really looks like a 1980s sitcom character. Good on her. She's finally got the episode where she turns into a lawyer.
You were skiing that day with your daughter, Apple, correct?
Yes.
You were also skiing with your son, Orchard, and your other daughter, Mandarin, who's Chinese.
Brad Falchuk, who was your boyfriend at the time, now current husband.
Correct.
All right.
Current husband and future divorcee. You had another Brad that you were married to, Pitt. Never heard of her. Anyway.
And his 2 children.
That's right.
Right. And his kids were the same approximate age as yours on the day of the ski.
Not only were they the same age, if you understand anything about the concept of time, you crazy, they still very well could be the same age. You are not wrong that they were the same age, but by law and logic and time and just humanity, they would still remain the same age today as each other. Do you get what I'm saying? Just because she came from 1983 in a time machine, she doesn't understand. It's all right.
They all remain the same age.
That's a
as each other.
Very good point.
We're like,
oh my god, she's actually talking to Gwyneth like Gwyneth is a child. I swear this girl has a lady crush on Gwyneth Paltrow. That is a very good point, Gwyneth. I'm so sorry. I'm such an idiot. I just don't know if she has the teeth to grill into Gwyneth Paltrow. Like, I'm sure there are very lovely lawyers out there. And I'm sure you can do things without being mean. In fact, I think that's the right way to do things. Not being like a POS doing it. But like, at the same time, you gotta ask some of these questions. Time's running out, lady. You haven't asked anything besides, are her kids the same age as they used to be? What a weird question. Ask something of relevance.
And I'm assuming, and you're under oath here, that you're a good tipper.
What is wrong with you? What? Under oath, you're good at tipping, right? Because at the Nobu restaurant, which I booked us into at 7:30, I said you'll leave like a 50% tip. So I'm hoping that you come through. What is wrong with you? This is not has anything to do with the case. Her being under oath and tipping well. Are you trying to make jokes? Are you trying to make friends on the stand right now? Lady, ask some questions that lead to some answers. We need to end this trial. Finally, we get to the main thing at hand, which is the skiing incident, which is what the whole thing is about. Please take it away.
I was not engaging in any risky behavior.
Okay, but also, and I think your counsel made mention of this in opening, that especially because your children were there.
This is the question that you choose to ask. Did she just really ask if Gwyneth Paltrow does not engage in risky behavior because her kids are especially there? What do you expect her to say? When my kids leave, I just love getting up to debauchery and risky behavior. Do you think this is the SpongeBob episode when they say, are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? And he goes for a panty raid and it's his own grandma's house or what? His mom's house? Did you watch SpongeBob before you did this trial? Why would you ask a question like, does she feel like being dangerous? Like maybe think about what you're gonna say, because this is not making Terry Sanderson look like a better client. This is just making Gwyneth Paltrow look like a reasonable human being. And that's hard to do because she owns Goop. It's a company that she said, and you can look this up, she named Goop because most successful companies have 2 O's in them, like Google or Apple. You made her look normal. Carry on.
I didn't engage in risky behavior. I wouldn't with my children there or without my children there.
And Gwyneth Paltrow answers like a normal human being, because who would say, yes, as soon as my kids go to bed, I'm risking it all, baby. Oh yeah, I'm going down that mountain butt ass naked. I'm putting a ski on my head. Stop. Of course not. What is your next question? Please make it count.
Kind of in life. I mean, I'm a mom, right? I've got a couple kids.
Did you say I'm a mom, right?
I'm a mom, right?
I'm a mom, right? Right? My mom? Is this whose case is this really at this point? Do you want to just get up on stand and have people like question you? Do you want to play Gwyneth Paltrow for a day?
Actually, about your age, and one of them. Not your age. Your daughter's age. Sorry, I'm not that old.
Is she trying to set up a play date now? I have a daughter, one's your age. You know, I said Nobu. After that, I did book us into a play date at Chipmunks. Very good, very good. Your kid is the same age as Gwyneth Paltrow. But not only that, she says that the kid is the same age as Gwyneth Paltrow, not Gwyneth Paltrow's daughter, and then proceeds to unintentionally call Gwyneth Paltrow old. And it's such a bad moment that you can almost hear the audible gasps of the people from behind as she mistakenly bitch slaps the person who she's trying to suck up to.
When my kids are around...
Nice. That was smooth. This is good. If you were on Bumble, they would throw the app away, because I think that girls have to talk to guys first on that or something. If this is the pickup lines, I don't know about that, bro. I think you gotta change the animal Bumble to like Fox or something, because this is bad. You just called Gwyneth Paltrow old.
I kind of behave myself a little bit better, especially when they were younger, than on average. Would you agree with that?
No, I'll take this one. I'm not even a mother. No. Are you out of your mind? Not everybody raises their kids the same way. And are you gonna seriously have a celebrity who's on trial to the world say, yes, when my kids go to bed, I'm the naughty. I'm a naughty shorty. No. Are you, what? Even if it wasn't true, which I don't even believe, I think Gwyneth Paltrow would probably be good around her kids, whether they're there or not, to set an example and a standard. Are you kidding me, lady?
Would you agree that you have engaged in risky behavior with your children present?
They need a fire hall. Can the judge put lawyers in prison for like a day just to think about what they're saying? Have you engaged in risky behavior in front of your children? The simple answer would be no. But genuinely, how would you know if she did? And thirdly, what? Are you just reaching for the stars? Is the next question going to be like, you did it, right? This is all your fault? Is this all your fault? Admit that it's all your fault. Do it. She's just going to do that until Gwyneth Paltrow admits something, because she has no actual questions to ask. This is not falsifying any of her statements. This is not making her look bad on the stand. The goal of grilling a witness or having a testimony is to poke holes in it to make sure that the jury understands that their version of the story seems less plausible than your client's. And the way to do that is to ask questions without leading, but ask questions in which the person who's speaking on the stand cannot answer, or they say something that contradicts or something that doesn't hold weight. Instead, what you're doing is asking her these easy questions to which she's answering normally. And probably most of the jury's like, yes, I'm also not a crazy human being, so I don't go acting dangerously around my kids or even when they're not home. What you're doing is basically getting them to side with Gwyneth, and you're losing this for your client. You're crazy. At this point, I think the other lawyer from Gwyneth's side is like, please, let's just end this. This is ridiculous. And they do. The next person who talks to Gwyneth is her own lawyer, and they talk about some texts that she received.
Do you recall I asked you, hey, did you text anyone that day? Do you remember this?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Which one's you, on the right or left?
Oh, hold up. Mr. Informal over here, calling everyone by their first name, just said,
okay, cool.
In a court of law? And you're the lawyer? Have you heard a judge say, bruh?
Oh, hell no!
Is this the kind of court that you normally go to? Do you go to a food court? What is this, bro?
Eric is the green and I'm the white.
Okay, cool.
That's not a statement that you could... Okay. Alright. Okay, cool. is his name from now on.
It says, I came in. That guy sort of hurt me. I'm going to get a massage at 3.
Hold on. Oh, whoa. Did they print out texts? Did they waste cardboard for this? Which one of you old people did this?
It was me all along, you ha 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 ha.
You know when they had the Johnny Depp case and they were reading text, they didn't have a big cardboard cutout of it. They just brought it up electronically, which you can do nowadays. Are you going to hand draw pictures of illustrations or something? That's weird.
Were you hit?
I was hit.
So in the text part of this, Gwyneth and her lawyer then go on to their strategy, which I think is very stupid. It's about SA. Gwyneth Paltrow will go on to talk about how she feels like she possibly thought that this was sensual misconduct, which I think is as ridiculous as Terry Sanderson's whole case. If you look at the logistics of someone flying down a mountain and having maybe 2 seconds to touch you, is that the smartest way to do something? I'm not saying that I'm a class A offender. I don't know anything about sensual misconduct. I don't try to, because this is not what I want to do with my life. But if I thought about it, going down a hill at 100 kilometers an hour would not be the way for me to do my sensual misconduct. This is like an extreme level. I need to be an S-tier misconduct person in order to do it that fast. I think this is the stupidest theory that I've heard.
Did he touch you without your permission?
He did.
The sexual part, by the way, that's just for a split second. You're thinking, what's going on here?
Yes, I was trying to put together what could possibly be happening behind me.
A crash. When someone hits into my car, I don't think, oh my god, you horny freak. Do you know what I mean? It's not the first thought, Gwyneth. Goopy Gwyneth. So Gwyneth then says it felt very slow, the fall. She didn't know if she was getting, inappropriately touched from behind. As most people go onto mountains with their families, think this is the time for me to pounce on someone is up a mountain in the middle of everyone. That seems like a very appropriate thing. Thanks, Gwyneth. You certainly have the mind of a killer right there. But she says for about 2 seconds she thought maybe that happened.
Did Mr. Sanderson hurt you by hitting you?
He did.
Gwyneth Paltrow claims to have also been injured. Her knee got overstretched and her back hurt. Honestly, at her age and at his age, she had sex the wrong way. Probably had the same ramifications. It seems like the crash really didn't have high enough of an impact on her, but at least she's not the one claiming damages, so I can't be too hard on her. Did she go to the doctors after is the question.
But did not seek medical care, is that what I understand?
I did not.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Instead of going to the doctors, she got a massage, which just goes to show how serious this whole case is. I'm sure most of us have been in some sort of crash before, and I don't mean car crash. Maybe you walked into someone. Just the other day, my friend and I were building something and we knocked our heads together like coconuts. I didn't sue him. He's still one of my best friends. I might slap him if he keeps doing it, but I think we're fine. Gwyneth Paltrow did feel some pain. She did feel hurt, but not enough to seek medical attention. And the last question that her lawyer asks her is, did she have any memory loss? And she cheekily answers that no, she doesn't, but it happened a long time ago, which is a little jab at Terry Sanderson, and honestly, deservingly so, because it's been 7 years. It's a weird time to sue someone, and I have a very sad and suspicious feeling that he might have seen the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial and thought, okay, if I have enough money, I can make this thing happen. Besides that weird sensual misconduct thing, she seems to be... I kind of thought she was going to be a little more crazy during this whole thing. I thought she was going to say some crazy stuff, maybe start crying. She actually acted as good as I've ever seen her. This might be one of her best roles. So now we move on to the main character, the main antagonist of the story, Scary Terry, and he is taking the stand. Every time he is on the stand, it is fireworks. He belongs on every kid's evil poster. The lies and contradictions that he tells basically bury the case, and the way that he tells them so passionately whilst not having any gravitas or anything to back up any of the theories just poke holes in his case, and you can see this man sinking as he tries to stay afloat.
What happened to Terry in this collision?
Glad we're talking about him in the third person. If you talk about him in the first person, he gets scared and runs away. What happened to Scary Terry today? It's the famous female lawyer from the 1980s, whose name I don't remember, and she's asking those softball questions. In fact, I think she's even harder on her own client than she is on Gwyneth Paltrow. I don't know if she just doesn't like him.
I sustained a concussion. Later on, had some right leg and still do, right leg and anomalies, movement. It just has its own idea and thinking where it needs to be.
Right, so Terry claims that he has got like the brunt of the hurt. Gwyneth smashed into him so bad that he broke at least 4 ribs. Something else happened, I don't know. And also his leg is like doing this nowadays. Like his leg is just involuntary moving. So he's on the subway, he kicks people, they're like, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know, can't control it, it's my leg, blame Gwyneth Paltrow, it's a long story. We need to have a list of claims. If you could maybe, editor, have a list of all of the things that he claims so far. Involuntary leg movement, he's got 4 broken ribs and a concussion.
Have things in your life changed?
No, they stayed the same from 7 years ago. This is the same lady who said to Gwyneth Paltrow, your kids are the same age back then as they are now. They constantly change and evolve with the ages of the times, don't they, Gwyneth?
I can't ski anymore. I was told that if I did and had another crash, that I could wind up full-time in a nursing home.
Scary Terry does his absolute best impression of someone who has been hurt. This is like watching a episode of Law & Order Special Victims Unit. You can disguise it all you want. People are going to find the truth. It always seems to reveal itself. Right now, apparently, Terry cannot even ski, or he's in danger of going into a nursing home if he sustains another crash like that. That's such a stupid thing to say. It's like saying to someone who has a car crash, if you have another car crash that breaks your neck, you'll probably not make it. No shit. It's sort of the risk of living every day. And Terry is no stranger to taking risks. He's quite an adventurous old man, which we will see later on. So I think he's just making stuff up to make stuff up.
And I did ski a few more times by myself just to see if I still could. I had this ungodly looking fluorescent red outfit I bought, a MIPS helmet to protect my brain better.
So you look like Flanders from The Simpsons in that one episode. Homer Simpson called him sexy.
Damn, boy, he's thick!
Maybe if anything, and you're bringing more attention to, you know, who you are as a person. I know that Scary Terry isn't married. We'll later learn that his relationship has been affected by Gwyneth Paltrow and her abnormal crash power that she uses on people. The list goes on. Broken ribs, concussion, janky leg, and he can't ski anymore. What else, Scary?
It's a year-round activity.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sanderson, did you say skiing is a all-year-round activity? It requires snow, my friend, and unless you are in a place that has 24/7 snow, it doesn't seem to be a year-round activity. In fact, I think this is why they have the Winter Olympics, because it's seasonal, but okay, I guess Mr. Sanderson knows something I don't.
How are you?
More brain damage, and I'm not sure I understand your question exactly.
Okay, Scary Terry doesn't understand the questions because apparently he also has brain damage, so we can add that to the list. I don't know if Gwyneth Paltrow had a truck that she drove into him before hitting him, but there's a lot of issues that this man has sustained from this one crash. I'd like to hear more.
My life was living in an orange chair initially, and sleep for 12 hours, and then sit for half an hour and tell Carlene I gotta go back to bed.
Let's talk.
Dude, you're describing the best life of all time. Sleep for 12 hours, wake up and tell your wife you have to go to bed. That's the greatest, most gangster shit. I wish I could do that. What are you complaining about? That is the best life ever. What? Ugh.
You ever get lost?
Oh my gosh, that was among the first signs when I tried to get out.
So apparently, inclusive with the brain damage is his inability to recognize maps anymore. So he doesn't know how to get home. His sense of direction ever since the crash has deteriorated to the point that this man cannot even recognize where he is at certain points of the day. Now, I want to say that it's worth noting that he is 76 years old. He seems like a pretty onto it person. I'm not gonna, say that he has dementia or that anybody can. I know that age does sometimes affect that, but if he is telling the truth, that could be more plausible than not. However, I don't think that he's telling the truth. I think that he's just straight up trying to exaggerate it so that he could maybe win this case. And I'll tell you why I think that later, because I have evidence. Yes, someone in this case actually has evidence. Carry on, Terry.
Headed home? I'm going the wrong direction. What's going on?
How the hell do you know you're going the wrong direction if you don't understand directions, Terry? If you're, pretending to not know where the hell you are, how do you know that where you're going is the wrong way? And don't say you use Google Maps, because if you're driving the wrong way using Google Maps, then you're just an anarchist. I don't know how you know you're going the wrong way, but if you know you're going the wrong way, you turn. And if you don't know you're going the wrong way, you shouldn't know you're going the wrong way.
What about emotional, Terry.
So yes, Terry can't read maps. Can we add that to the list? What else, Terry? What else did Gwyneth Paltrow affect you with by crashing her skis into you? How did life get worse?
Something's wrong in my essence and what I bring to the table with them.
Yeah, okay, so his essence is messed up. Can we write that down? He's got the wrong essence. Gwyneth Paltrow could probably do that. She probably goop smashed into you. She probably had some of them vagina candles in her ski suit and they got gooped all over you maybe. And that's why the essence of your family is wrong, because they're like, Dad, what is that vagina smell? I'm guessing at this point.
They've told me they've noticed some changes.
This is really good testimony. This should hold up on the jury's side of things. It's good. No actual explanation as to how it's difficult. Nothing to back any of this up. Nothing at all other than Terry Sanderson making shit up. This is like if you're going to put a toddler or someone who's 4 years old up on the stand and ask them to retell a story that they told that they were lying about. This is what Terry's doing. He's just saying stuff. How can you possibly even say that your relationship has been messed up? I don't know what it was like before. I don't know how to prove that. I don't know what it is now. I don't know why it dissipated. I don't know anything. How can you attribute this to a single crash? What is the theory behind why a crash made your relationship weaken? Can we have any statistics that prove that? The only thing I can think about is the NFL and the concussion protocol. But you have to be hit by a linebacker or someone really big in order to do that, and you have to be hit consistently. Tom Brady took a lot of hits. He never went down once on a ski field. Are you telling me if Gwyneth Paltrow hit Tom Brady during a ski trip that he would be busy in a wheelchair trying to throw a touchdown?
My goals are always angels. I'm their protector.
Get out of here. You don't even know where North is anymore. What are you protecting, bro? If your girls are like, hey, Dad, please, I need help. Come to the nearest KFC. 8 hours later, he's like, man, I thought you said CFK. I can't read. I got brain damage and my leg keeps being janky.
Do you love your girls?
Oh my gosh, I'm not sure.
What kind of relationships did you have with your girls before this crash? Do you love your girls?
Oh my gosh, my goals are always...
Let's talk about Carlene. She's a catch. Why'd you let her go?
So, Terry Sanderson does the amazing thing of trying to use, I guess, human emotion to persuade the court. He said that he cried on the way home. It's a needless point and doesn't really do anything for anyone. It just is supposed to get people to empathize or sympathize with him. What a slimy, weird move. And he says he just wants to be closer with his girls, but because of Gwyneth Paltrow, he can't. Not only that, the next question that his lawyer asks is why him and his wife or fiance or girlfriend decided to break up. And the answer is just, Gwyneth, you should hire this man for your next movie. He may not look like Brad Pitt or act like Daniel Day-Lewis, but he certainly looks like Gary Busey and acts also like Gary Busey. So, maybe hire him.
After 8 months, I had to tell her to leave. I'm not asking her, I'm telling you, you gotta leave. And
why'd you tell her to leave?
I knew she didn't buy into this.
We're not gonna watch a 76-year-old man try and cry. It's always good to have your first acting gig at some point. White Morgan Freeman over here is doing some crazy acting skills. He also said that his girlfriend left because she didn't buy into it, which seems like almost testifying against yourself. The words, she didn't buy into me or buy into it, is almost very telling. Like there's plenty of ways to say she didn't think that I was enough for her since the crash. I've become a different person to her. But instead of doing that, he says the word she didn't buy into it, which almost insinuates that he lied and she didn't buy into his lies, which I think is just unintentionally. Sometimes we say things that we try and hide.
Didn't buy in to me. I'm not sure I'm going to get back to normal again. I don't want you to feel like that I'm a crippled vet and you're going to stick it out with me, because I know you would. Half a brain or whatever.
Sorry, this deserves this. I'm a crippled vet because Gwen stepped on me. She had a skiing accident and now I cannot see. And my wife left me. I'm sorry, but he just said that Gwyneth Paltrow running into him, he's now a crippled vet with half a brain. Can we add that to the list? That's egregious. Carry on. At this point, Gwyneth Paltrow's lawyer comes in and he gets to do the redirect and stuff like that. Terry is just a mess. His testimony, everything he says is just too much, too spicy, almost like a caricature. This seems like a movie, and now we're going to try and bring him back down to reality, which is what Gwyneth Paltrow's lawyer does. So he says, I wrote I'm famous in a Facebook post, and then he asks if Terry denies it, to which Terry says, if you have it on record, then I don't dispute it, which is basically like saying, if you caught me on camera, then I did it. But if you didn't, I didn't do that shit. Terry, could you try and phrase that in a way that almost makes it sound like you could be innocent?
To say, I think it's cool that I had a collision with a celebrity. Was that your thinking at the time?
So Terry Sanderson said during one of his testimonies, I think, that he doesn't buy into celebrity culture and he doesn't care who knocked into him. He's just not a fan of celebrity worship. It sort of contradicts a lot that he says the words I'm famous after realizing that Gwyneth Paltrow is the one who hit into him. This is what the lawyer's angle is sort of doing. And this is the right thing to do when you're in court. You look at someone's testimony or the deposition or things that they say, and you ask questions that cause doubt or poke holes in their story in order to influence the jury that they may not be a credible person. And if they lose trust in someone, they'll probably have the verdict go against them.
Was that your thinking at the time? And your answer was yes. I guess, yes. Now let's go to your weight.
This is my favorite part in the whole testimony. This is the most gangster thing. Have you ever shot up in height? Possibly, when you were hitting puberty. If you're a 76-year-old man, do you think you could grow a couple inches? Probably not, unless it's your dream or we're talking about your erection. Ugh. Can you lose height? Potentially, sometimes, you know, as the older you get, you shrink. Can you do it in a few months? Not unless someone chops your legs off. So I just want you to really note that Terry Sanderson's height changes throughout this whole testimony, which is gangster.
You testified today that you were 163 and 5'5", true?
Yes.
Do you agree that at your deposition you told me you were 175 to 180 and 5'8"? Yes.
Damn, this man, he fully changed. 163 and 5'5" sounds about right. 180 and 5'8" also sounds right. But you can't be both. You're not Danny DeVito and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You gotta pick one. Both of them equally handsome. But you gotta pick one.
A qualified yes.
And then you said 5'8". How high are you? How tall are you?
Oh, Gwyneth Paltrow's lawyer saying you said you were 5'5", now you're saying you're 5'8"? How high are you? How tall are you? He meant what he said.
3 inches different, right?
I just found that out. I didn't realize. I've had people telling me that.
You told.
I'm just learning about. I thought I was 6'3". You're telling me I'm 5'8". God damn. Christ, do I not play in the NBA? Is my name not LeBron James? I said I've been sleeping in the wrong woman's bed. God damn. I've been telling people I'm black this whole time. Am I not? Jesus.
This jury, at the time of the accident, you were 163 and 5'5". Did you not, like 2 hours ago?
You should have seen him before the accident. This guy was 160,000. He was really fat. Out of all the things you could have been consistent on, maybe the factual basis of your height should have been it. There are certain things you could change, like personality. Maybe, you know, the way that you had your hair a certain day. It's more plausible, but changing things like your height or maybe the color of your skin, not gonna hold up in court as well as you think, Terry. Weird thing to fluctuate on. Wow.
I did, yes. Yes.
Have you shrunk 3 inches?
I couldn't believe it either. I wanted to argue.
Man, you're telling me that I shrunk. I was like, bro. The reason Terry Sanderson is talking about him shrinking and being smaller is because they note in the case that Gwyneth Paltrow is 5'9", and Terry Sanderson, while he had his big ego, claims to be 5'8". That's not a big enough difference. And when you look at Gwyneth Paltrow, who's 5'9", maybe running into someone who's 5'8", damage might not be that big. If we maybe exaggerate it and we put Shaquille O'Neal in skis and Gwyneth Paltrow runs into him, Shaq would be like, oh, is that a mosquito on my ass? However, if you're claiming to be a much smaller, thinner, more frail person, you can more easily claim that the damage is more long-lasting and has more severe and dire effects. And that's why Terry Sanderson is now claiming that he's a shorter, more frail version of himself.
I've always been 5'8.5", and I knew it.
Oh my God, he grew since the last time we had this combo. He wasn't just 5'8", now he's 5'8.5". If you keep talking to him, he's gonna be 6'1". My God, I didn't know he's Steph Curry's height. So, the next thing that the lawyer grills Terry Sanderson over is the amount of time that he said he was knocked out for during the crash, because Terry Sanderson makes the claim that he got knocked out during the crash. Gwyneth smacked into him so hard that he absolutely passed out. He says at first it was a few seconds. Sometimes he says minutes, and his answers vary up to 10 minutes. If you're knocked out for 10 minutes, I think you need medical help urgently, first of all. But secondly, very well done. And I will say this compliment about this lawyer, he's one of the only ones. He finds the relevant information going back to a deposition in which Terry Sanderson says that he makes up different times in order to get the doctors to see him faster. I don't know why you would say that in a deposition. You're not supposed to. I think your lawyers would advise against you doing it, but he seems to have been brutally honest for some reason. This ruins a lot of credibility in a lot of things he says when people can see that he's openly lying to get his goals and motives. Pretty much explains the case. And if he's lying to get that $3 million, nobody's going to give it to him. So this is probably the most incriminating piece of evidence that we have, and he just lets it happen.
It depends on my visit. If I want to make a deal out of it, and that was the reason for my visit, then I might say for 10 minutes. I might pick the worst.
This case is closed. Basically have someone who is trying to sell a case in which he claims to have been hit. There's no evidence, and we're set with the task of believing him. And in doing so, we have written testimony of him admitting to lying about things to get his way. That's game, set, and match right there.
But 7 years later, you're here saying he was terrible to me. Just terrible. You were flying through the air after she hit you.
I think this little moment here is worth noting if we're looking at the case. I did look at Gwyneth Paltrow's lawyer. I think this is smart whether it's intentional or not. I'm going to pretend it's intentional for just video purposes. What he does when he talks about the moment Terry Sanderson said he was flying through the air is put his hands up, because Terry Sanderson does it. Him putting his hands up illustrates a more visual picture to the jury. It also shows how ludicrous the statement is, and how if you're looking at it and you're thinking, would a man be flying through the air after being hit by a 5'9" Gwyneth Paltrow? If that's how it looks, is that realistic? Probably not. So he does that. He also, throughout the case, does use a lot of hand gestures and signals, so he might just be doing this unintentionally. But either way, it's a very smart move.
You had 2 divorces, true?
I did, yes.
He's just going on tangents now. He's like, shit, I got 5 minutes. Yo, Terry, you got divorced, huh? Twice. You know what they say, the third one's free.
Do you recall saying that you agreed that saying I'm famous was a crazy thing to say?
It's the other personality that's inhabiting my body right now.
Oh my God, let's just throw this case away. Can we throw this away? Are we good? Do we have enough evidence to say that this man is bonkers? Does his legal team not have anything to say about this? Can you not call this man and be like, time out, Terry, what the hell is wrong with you? Don't say that you have another personality. What are you putting that on for? Are you saying that this man has multiple personality disorder because Gwyneth Paltrow hit him? Can we add that to the list? Since when did he have another personality? This is a new trait that's brought up in the 11th hour. He's just adding on to things that he thinks possibly could happen to him. It's my other personality. Can I hear that one more time? This is ridiculous.
It's the other personality that's inhabiting my body right now.
That is insane. You could have just said, I didn't mean it. Wow. Can you imagine that as a defense? Why'd you run this guy over? It's my other personality. Normally, the good personality takes over and is just a nice guy. But my evil personality said, you owe me money, so I'm gonna run you over. Don't blame me, blame him. Okay, Terry, okay. Wow, the list is getting longer.
And you blame Gwyneth Paltrow for that?
Yes, no question.
So you blame Gwyneth Paltrow for your multiple random personality split now, your janky leg, your brain damage, the loss of your relationship with family members, the loss of your relationship with your wife or significant other. You can't read maps because of her, and you also seem to have shrunk. So Gwyneth Paltrow has a lot of evil powers according to you. Probably should buy some of her goop products. She could probably get a better life. So after that, Terry's lawyer comes back on to ask him some questions so he could finally gain his reputation back. I don't think it goes as well as he thinks. So now we're going to talk about probably the most memeable part of this whole trial. In a weird trial that has a person giving a weird testimony in a weird case, this might be the weirdest of them all. It's called the Scream. Is where Terry Sanderson imitates a blood-curdling, gurgling scream that he heard, and I'm assuming he meant Gwyneth. Could have been him screaming, I'm not really sure, but he's trying to illustrate the point that he was screaming, or someone was screaming before the incident happened. Basically his version of a Hollywood movie that goes down in his head. They get him to recall the events of that fateful day, and he tries to do it in almost Leonardo DiCaprio fashion, where he's acting every scene out.
Let's talk about that day. How tall are you?
I think I'm now 5'5".
That's not how life works. A toddler can say that. Someone who's going through puberty can say, I'm now 5'5". Someone who's in their 70s can't be like, I guess nowadays I'm 5'5". After the incident, I'm 2'3".
Well, fully dressed, I was... or undressed, probably 63, 62 pounds.
Whoa. You're wrong. 62 pounds. What are you, 32 kgs? You want to try that again? What'd you say? 160, 180 pounds. That's it, Terry. Almost, buddy.
Take the jury through what happened in this ski collision.
It was really a very nice day for skiing. I came over the top of the hill and saw that and headed for the right side, and I'll pick it up there. I went right down the run and started just making nice soft turns, great big letters, slow down. I went, whoa. It takes my breath away to think this is hard because I don't like going through this scene.
It's not a scene, buddy. This is a real life event. You've used so many terms that almost dispute the claims that you make that it's beginning to feel like it's almost intentional. Or maybe it's unintentional, but it's coming out like that. If you do it once, it could be just the way you're speaking. If you do it twice, maybe there's some validity to it. If you do it a third time, you might as well start looking at the signs. Every time this guy says things like, my wife didn't buy into this, let me take you back to the scene, which is hard for me to go to. These are things that you have to latch on to. They're quite telling of how he sees this event going down. It's very much a movie for him, and he's trying to get the best out of it.
I heard something I've never heard at a ski resort.
A black man saying, I'll have a iced tea. What is it? What did you hear at a ski resort that you didn't hear before?
And that was a blood-curdling scream. Just, I can't do it. It was... boom.
Oh my god, that was cringy. One more time. How does it go? I can't do it. I can't. If I heard that on the mountains, I'd be more scared than someone actually screaming. His recreation of the scream is so funny that they have a shot of Gwyneth and her lawyer, and she's trying not to laugh during this whole thing.
You know, I got hit in my back so hard, and I'm right at my shoulder blades, and it felt like, and was perfectly centered, and the fists and the poles were right there, bottom of my shoulder blades.
How'd you know all that, bro? I thought it happened a split second. You were knocked out unconscious, didn't even know who you were for like 10 seconds, but you knew that the poles were behind your shoulder blades? What a very specific thing to know at a time like that, when it happened for like a mere few seconds. If someone kicked me or swiped me, I wouldn't know what color the inside of their pocket was. This is the type of information that you're giving. It's very specific, dude.
Serious smack. Never been hit that hard, and I'm flying. I'm absolutely flying.
I used to think that I could not fly. Then Gwyneth Paltrow kicked my ass with a ski. I believe I can fly. My name is Terry and I like to lie. I lie about things every night and day. Now my family ran away. Basically, the lawyer on his side was like, but you're not actually flying. That would be ridiculously stupid. And he's like, no. I was like Top Gun Maverick. Tom Cruise could have rode me. He could have flown me, honestly. The lawyer probably is like, God damn it, Terry. We talked about this. Don't pretend you're flying. In the last 10 minutes, you've claimed to have 2 personalities. You shrunk 3 inches, you're flying, and you let out a blood-curdling scream. Can you try to tell the truth for once? Now Terry's turning this into literally like John Wick or like some heroic movie. After he gets hit and he's flying and he's airborne. Even though he was knocked out unconscious in the last time we heard about it, he's somehow not unconscious in this story. He uses all of his might to look back and move across the mountain. Can we just go back to the start of the animation and just recall that everyone was in front of them and to the right side, and the only person who was behind them was the eyewitness who was so far behind them that if he crashed into them it would be intentional. So there's no one to move to the side for. Can we also recall that he's on the left side and so is she, and everyone else is on the right side, so there's no one to move away from. This heroic story seems very, very far-fetched. I just want to say that, but carry on.
I just said, okay, you got to protect your face, and your head, and that's the last thing I remember. It didn't happen. I did glance over and saw, just out of the corner of my eye, I could see, not glance over, but I could see somebody going by, and I'm going, okay, they're safe.
So yes, Terry makes sure that other people are safe when he gets hit. I presume then he goes unconscious, forgets his name, comes back to reality, and becomes a way worse person. That's how the story went down. So he's a hero for saving other people and getting reckless, goopy Gwyneth Paltrow out of the ski course. He's really, truly a hero that deserves all the fame and $3.2 million apparently, according to himself. The next segment is called Terry Old as Dirt Sanderson. This is a violation if ever I've seen one. I've never seen lawyers go so hard, so needlessly before. Because Terry is going with the angle that he is very much hurt mentally and physically, Gwyneth's lawyers decided to do a background check on him and basically note every single issue he has both mentally and physically prior to the accident. They only needed to note maybe 2 or 3 things of interest, but they did 21. Yes, just like the rapper, they are also savages. This is the most savage shit that you will see, and I'm going to read out every single one for you because it is vile. Sanderson's health before incident. Number 1, thinks he's gotten old all of a sudden, not doing things he used to do. So the first thing they're like, is like, wait, suddenly he feels old. Mr. Sanderson is blind in his right eye and severely impaired in the other. I don't know about the other eye, but after seeing a lot of testimonies, apparently he had met with an accident a while ago that left him blind in one eye, and that's why he retired from optometry. So having a blind guy be your optometrist is like having Nikocado Avocado be your dietitian. It's just weird. He also routinely walked into walls. That's just hilarious. This man before the accident was walking into wall. He was like, "Hi, honey." Who put that wall there? I'm blind in one eye, I can't see. He would ask people standing on the right side of his field of vision to move so he could see them. Oh, if I could see you, I'd beat you up. There you are, you little bitch. I swear to God, he should have just worn an eye patch. He'd look so much cooler. He'd look like Slick Rick. One of the reasons he retired was because he had a stroke event that deprived his eye of oxygen, impacting vision. He adjusted his skiing to one side of the slope to try and avoid hitting others in a blind spot. He had to be picky about what days he skied to avoid days with lighting that would further limit his depth perception. Now, all of that stuff is relevant. I think that's fine. That contributes to the case, and it pulls into question if Terry Sanderson was actually to blame because he had all of these things. Was he able to see Gwyneth? Did he not see her? All these are causing doubt in his case, and they're good. Everything else is questionable, like this prostate cancer. Does this have to do with the skiing incident? Was he just really sad that he had prostate cancer and was like, I'm gonna smack into a celebrity? I don't know, but it seems like a weird thing to bring up. I'm very sorry he has it, but my God, what a crazy thing to bring up in court. Has difficulty hearing higher frequency sounds like a woman's voice. That is not impaired. That is just a comedy, but in Eddie Murphy stand-up routine that somehow made it into this. That's just hilarious. You know what? I have the same difficulty, Terry. Sometimes I don't know what you're saying. Sorry if you're a woman. Blah, blah, blah. I got you, Terry. I know exactly what you're talking about. Hearing loss is severe. So not only is he blind, he can't hear. Wow. Okay, heart palpitations, right? Mr. Sanderson is 76 years old and experiencing the effects of aging. Basically, they're just calling him an old fuck. I've never seen that one before. They're like, he's experiencing aging. This guy is advanced in his age. He's like a pro at aging. Microvascular disease, moderate diffuse volume loss atrophy, retinal artery occlusion and mixed calcific and fibrofatty plaque. Don't know if they're just calling his eyes fat, something like that. He's got depression. That's the 10th worst thing on the list. It's like you got prostate cancer and depression. Also, you can't hear a woman's voices. I don't know if that's a plus or minus for you. You're also 76, so you're old. This reads like the most presentable bully I've ever seen. Like, this is a new kind of roast right here. You know how they have Comedy Central roasts? If they read this would be like a killer blow. Terry is so old that he's gonna die. He's also got cancer in his nuts, and he cannot hear a woman, so his wife left him. He's also got depression, and he suffers with migraines. He's probably gonna die. All right. Oh, this is my time. Migraines as well. It goes on, by the way. Back, spine problems, foot drop. I think that's when you walk and your foot comes off and you're like, ah, shit, gotta put it back in. Weakness. That's it. He's just a weak bitch. Issue number 12. He's weak. Can't even lift up his own weight at the gym, bro. Whenever he deadlifts, he just falls over. Loss of sensation. D is just pain. He's just pain. He's just in pain. 13, knee injury, shoulder injury, hamstring injury. Sounds like a basketball report. Osteoarthritis, his wrist problem. He's got trigger finger, which we saw earlier. It's when someone says something you don't like and you're like, I'm gonna cap you, fool. Pa, pa, pa. Again, depression. This is 2 times it made it on the list. Depression was so bad that they had to put it twice on the list. Unfortunately, that's not all. There's more, and the best is yet to come. After having depression twice on the list, he has insomnia, so he can't sleep. Big whoop. Respiratory problems. Big whoop. Poor male sexual reproductive health. He's impotent and has erectile dysfunction. His daughters were in court. Now everybody in the court knows he's impotent. He can't get it up. Wow. Way to kick a man while he's down. In a list of things you could possibly say, say he has prostate cancer, and in the same breath also say he has erectile dysfunction. That's just cruel. That is mean. I did not think they were going to go this hard on Terry, but my God. He's got tract issues, kidney problems, weight gain, and finally he's got restless legs. He has restless leg syndrome. Finally, they get to him.
Are these things important when we're talking about aging?
They're, of course, talking to a doctor at this point, explaining that all of these things happened prior to the incident and, like I said, causing holes in the plot. Most of these things are not relevant, and the doctor, I think, sort of insinuates that this is a bit too far, but the doctor's also borderline creepy. You tell me if you think he's creepy.
Some of these conditions are more relevant than others. It would be a kind of a condescending to him and also to me to go over a totally normal physical exam.
So yeah, the doctor says condescending. One last grilling for Terry. I think I shrunk 3 inches, Sanderson. One last time around the block, the lawyer gets to grill Terry on all of the things that he said and call into question whether any of that has any relevance. They also show Terry's life after the incident, because Terry basically said that he became a husk of himself. He said that he was so depressed that his fiancée left him, that nobody could actually get to him, and that he was suffering from relationship problems, mental issues, brain damage. He couldn't go out. He couldn't ski again. What's really, really stupid about this is in the 7 years he had before this trial, on Facebook, he's such a egotist that he posted about all of his adventures. And he has went on more adventures than probably you and I will go on in a lifetime. Take a look at this.
You've lost like 15 pounds and shrunk 3 inches, right?
Because the VA records weighs you with all your clothes and everything on, and I knew that's what you were reading, was what
Clothes
the VA
don't
reported.
give you 3 inches. You with me? You said you were pudgy.
Okay.
Clothes don't give you 3 inches, bro. The only thing, look, 3 inches is a lot. My wife would know about that. That's why she divorced me. You said 3 inches is more than you think, Daniel. So you saying that you're 5'5", 5'8", it matters. Trust me.
That's kind of a fun term, yeah.
Dude, and I'm on a 30-minute clock, so I'm gonna try to ask questions.
Yeah. Terry, I'm on a 30-minute clock. You only have 30 minutes to fuck up your case. Are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready, bro.
Questions very directly. Upon filing your lawsuit in a press conference, compare my client to King Kong.
Oh, yeah. He had a press conference, and in the press conference, he compared Gwyneth Paltrow to King Kong, which is... That's good. That's amazing. I never even thought that could be possible. He compared her, small white woman, to big black gorilla who goes on the Empire State Building. It's a wild comparison if ever I've heard one, Terry.
Coming out of the jungle, yes or no?
Pardon? Press conference. I was pretty...
What a reaction. Yeah, so you call my client a big King Kong-like ape coming out of the jungle? What do you have to say about that? A press conference. So Michael Jordan said plenty of shit at his press conference. I threw a press conference. I was like, Gwyneth, more like King Kong, Godzilla. I don't know. You do what you do.
Did you say those words about my client?
It actually was so funny. You can hear the lawyer laughing.
Did you say those words about my client?
How stupid and outlandish this thing is. Because Terry's not even denying it. He's like, yeah, I guess I did. It was a press conference.
I did say that.
Did you refer to her as Godzilla to your daughter?
Sorry.
You called her Godzilla. You called her Godzilla. Oh, this is crazy, Terry. Why are you doing this? You lost the case like years ago, but you called her names in between. You held a press conference and called her names. Is this a boxing match? Are you Tyson Furious? What is wrong with you? So as I said, Gwyneth Paltrow's lawyer then grills him by actually digging up all of the stuff that he's done post-crash, and it's just a long list of places that he's been to. There's even pictures, self-incriminating, might I add, because they're all on Facebook, and they show this man contradicting everything he said about being a former husk of himself. He's actually traveling more than ever and doing more dangerous things than you would imagine. He even skis again.
Okay, visit Machu Picchu, walked the Golden Trail, floated down the Amazon, Costa Rica. Did you do a line?
Yes.
Did you go to Europe, Netherlands, Germany, Switzerland, Italy, France, Belgium?
Yes.
Canary Islands. I need to know if you're disputing these things.
I can't dispute it, no.
Thailand.
Yes.
Washington, Oregon, Montana, and Idaho.
Yes.
Number 50. This is a picture of you and your girlfriend.
Oh, so they got pictures as well. They got him going to all of these exotic countries, places that he could have, maybe not went to if he actually was feeling the ramifications in these 7 years. He would be, struggling to find places. I would say if you don't even know how to tell what north is, it would be very, very wild to go to countries like Morocco or maybe go down the Amazon. If you have no sense of direction, I would be utterly scared and terrified. Also, if I was fearing for my life, or if a doctor said if I did anything dangerous I could end up in a hospital or a nursing home, I wouldn't be going to places like the Amazon. Terry, Lion Terry. Someone actually shows pictures, and I swear to you, I've watched the whole testimony. Every time they bring up a picture, the person who brings it up does it in the wrong way and has to rotate it 3 to 4 times. Oh my goodness, could they not hire someone younger in court? Do they have to get the old person being like, how does it go? Which way is it? This? I'm just gonna hold it, okay? I'm gonna print the pictures out, it's easier. Terry smiling, not a good look, especially since he's supposed to be absolutely distraught and done, and, just not a good person. He's got janky leg syndrome, everything. He's got depression. I know a picture doesn't necessarily capture everything, but he's got tons of those. The lawyer then asks him why he was wearing a helmet, because he was apparently going to a kayak store for a kayak, but then he says this, which is a much better answer.
With a kayak right above you?
I'm in a sporting goods store on the west side that has everything in it, and there was a mirror right there, and I was smile camera, not for kayaks, just for general protection.
He's just wearing it for general protection. He's got that stupid hat on his head, the helmet on his head, just for general protection. He's so scared of his life that in the Amazon where all the snakes are, he's finally protecting his head by getting a bike helmet. A kayak helmet. That's a likely story. The next part is him actually skiing again, which the doctors said, according to his own testimony, that if he did again and got injured, he would be in a nursing home and be in serious danger. But he did it again. Whose fault is that now?
Is this you on a camel?
It's my daughter, Polly.
Sorry, Polly, if you're listening.
I think at one point the guy calls his daughter a camel. Nah, I'm kidding. I just did that. But it's funny, and it's a long case, and I needed to entertain myself. These guys are boring. But basically, this whole testimony proves, and I would say at this point, if it wasn't already cemented in all of the jurors' heads, that it would be now. Everyone could unanimously agree that Terry Sanderson is probably a liar about most things, and his credibility is coming into question to the point that the stuff that he's asking for and the stuff that he's saying may not be correct. And I don't know what the verdict is at this point. I'm not supposed to, but it's looking like if I was someone in the court watching this, just without bias, I think he would be wrong. Just nothing he says holds any weight. His daughters are trying too hard to defend him, and he also shrunk 3 inches, which I just don't believe. So now, after all of the witnesses, all of the testimonies, we have the closing statements. And if you remember at the start of this video how the opening statements are, you know, you're in for it. Is all I'm saying. There are very, very few moments where Gwyneth Paltrow's lawyer shines, and so he should, because this is a very slam dunk case. If any lawyer had Terry Sanderson, they'd be eating this for lunch. This is a gimme right here. This is easy. So I'm glad that he did his job. But opening and closing statements when he just has to talk about random stuff, not his forte. This is one of the worst closing statements I think I've ever seen in humanity. It might be the worst, honestly. Just take a look at this.
I miss Paltrow's, and I'm going to just call her Gwyneth. I'm Gwyneth's lawyer. So
damn, dude. That was the first line. Why are you okay, so much wrong with that. You can call her Miss Paltrow because you're representing her. They didn't call Johnny Depp Johnny throughout the case. It's just more formal. Secondly, did you flub that up? You almost called yourself Gwyneth Paltrow? Are you gonna represent yourself? Dude, seriously? Wow. Nobody's even pressuring you.
we've blown through a lot of these cute little post-it notes where she's sending me stuff. It takes a lot of courage, does it not, for her to sit there for 2 weeks and be pounded like King Kong.
Okay, well, getting pounded is maybe not the right wording for 2 weeks. Gwyneth Paltrow getting pounded for 2 weeks, not what I want to see in a courtroom video, or any video for that matter, but not the right wording, not the right wording. Look, dude, I hate to break it to you, you don't need 30 minutes, you need like 2 minutes. Nobody thinks Gwyneth Paltrow is suffering from anything. Nobody's gonna believe that she's been in danger or in trouble. Nobody's going to sympathize with her. She's rich and she's had a skiing accident. I don't think that using the angle of her being in danger is going to work. All you need to do is say Gwyneth wasn't in the wrong here and she's had to put up with this dingo. That should be all right. Anything else is just extra for experts.
She lose, oh, that's too bad. You had to come in early and have a massage. No. By the way, I thought it was cool. I don't know if you did. Her dad taught her to ski at Alta.
Okay, he's going back using the dad thing, which he did at the start. If you've been watching the video, at the start of the video, he said that her dad died really young and that's why she didn't want to ski, because it reminded of her dad. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but he also said in the process, I think I'm cool. Do you think I'm cool? What?
She was in love with Brad Falchuk. Dated for 2 years. It's kind of cool. So what did they lose? They lost a half.
It's these little lines for me. They dated for 2 years. Kind of cool.
And the judge is giving you all these warnings. Don't be talking to people. Don't even talk to yourselves yet, because we want you focused.
Don't even talk to yourselves. Don't even think. Don't think till the judge tells you. Don't even breathe. Just die until the judge tells you to wake yourself up. Oh, don't even talk to yourselves is a new one, I gotta say. All right, lawyer, what else do you have to say?
He likes to be in the spotlight. His own daughter said he would be dishonest for money or notoriety.
I'm assuming one of the daughters said that. I don't know. I didn't see that in the testimony, but at this point, I believe this guy because I don't believe the other guy.
So Miss Paltrow is asking for her dollar, but it's not about the dollar,
not daughter. Mr. Sanderson didn't steal her kid. He just stole everyone's time, okay? This is a big flub up, dude. It's a big flub up, and he did it 3 times. He got it right, then got it wrong to get it right. That's a closing statement. They said 30 minutes, and he took all 30 minutes to get through like 5 minutes worth of dialogue. This is like having an NPC try and be the main character, honestly. So it's very bad.
It's not about King Kong. He's 76. I mean, my parents, they were dead by then.
Nice. Good. That's really okay. Thank you for what a touching sentiment that is.
They certainly weren't taking 10 trips around the world.
Of course not. They were dead by then. Unlike him, he's aging rapidly. Unfortunately for you, he's still alive, but Jesus. What a morbid thing to say. Thank you for that closing statement. Of course, the prosecution has to make the last closing statement. Not to be outdone, somehow Terry Sanderson's lawyer is just as bad, if not worse. I didn't notice him the whole time. I didn't see him talk, but they saved the best for last. I call him Family Guy. Family Guy makes a closing statement.
It's been a hard, long case. By the way, I apologize for my cold. I've got asthma, maybe a little bit more of that.
God damn, where did you find these people, you two? These are the worst two lawyers I've ever seen in my life. This dude, both of them got the Hunchback of Notre Dame thing going. This guy's been coughing the whole day. He started snorting in court.
Who hit whom? Terry Sanderson is not a liar.
Okay, Terry Sanderson's not a liar.
Gwyneth is a good person, and I believe Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay, Gwyneth Paltrow is also not a liar, and he believes her. All right.
I don't care who hit whom.
Right, okay. Well, he doesn't give a shit about this case, clearly. I don't care who hit who. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'm on TV, bitch. He then goes on to tell, and I swear to you, his own version of a story in which he is at a red light and someone crashes into a celebrity and he goes to save them. And the moral of the story is, honestly, I don't know, but I think he's just trying to relate to people. But he tells that story for 10 to 15 minutes out of his 30 minutes. It's a personal story that has nothing to do with anything. This is like a Family Guy segment when they take 20 minutes to do a joke that has nothing to do with the plot. Amazing.
People that are in these types of events have a totally different viewpoint.
Oh, that was his point. People in different types of events have different viewpoints. He took 20 minutes for that. Oddly enough, when he was telling that story, no coughing, no asthma. Now he's back to coughing and asthma.
I'll call it the scream heard around the world. Okay? This is being broadcast everywhere, by the way. It's on court TV. I'm getting emails every day from Canada.
Wow, your mom must be proud. Unless she's over 76, because she's probably dead, according to the other guy. That's good. You're getting emails from Canada. Should this be in a closing statement? Or should this be in your resume for the Burger King job that you're going to work at after you get fired for being a shit lawyer? Which one is this? He's talking about evidence at the end, trying to do something called recapping, where you sort of jog the jury's memory. And, in a long trial, sometimes they may forget, sometimes bringing it up gets them to do it because it's the last time you'll get to talk to them before they have to make their decision. So it's sort of a summarization of everything that has happened and that you want them to leave thinking. So he's bringing up all this evidence, but in the meantime also telling personal stories, saying how he's famous in Canada. Ooh, good for you. It's just a really bad closing statement as well.
There's a loud scream. Craig Ramone heard it and looked over. You don't scream at something you can't see.
Yep, and yeah, this guy's evidence is clearly backed up by science and the will of God. Apparently you can't scream at things you can't see. That's scientifically just accurate. Carry on.
It's one of Terry's saddest problems. He cannot organize and manipulate his woman. It's the saddest thing. Part of him is still up there on that mountain. Thank you.
Okay, so he basically ends by saying it's very sad Terry Sanderson can't do anything anymore. He got hit by Gwyneth Paltrow from the back and he's struggling to even live his life. And then he coughs for the remaining time he has and then says thank you. So those are the two closing statements. Each of them tried to outdo each other and how bad they are. You tell me who's worse in the comment section. Which is the worst lawyer, really? And now we have the verdict. Finally, does Terry Sanderson win $3.2 million or does Gwyneth Paltrow win the $1 and symbolic victory?
Terry Sanderson's fault caused Gwyneth Paltrow's Did Terry Sanderson's fault cause Gwyneth Paltrow's harm?
Are you kidding me? Does anybody in this actual courtroom know how to read? Does the judge know how to read, or is he just banging the gavel? What is happening here? Oh my goodness. This is fantastic.
Yes. What % of the fault do you assign to Terry Sanderson? 100%. What amount fairly compensates Gwyneth Paltrow for economic damages?
We're almost through this. But you got the one juror who couldn't read to do this. Is this a sick joke? This whole trial has been a sick joke, hasn't it?
$1. Nice. Signed March 30th, 2000.
This is such an informal court that you can actually hear, if you just replay that and you make it a little louder, you can hear someone say, nice.
$1. Nice.
As she wins. I didn't add that in. Somebody in the actual court was like, nice. What a weird win that is. The end of the video shows the lawyer family guy putting his hand over Terry Sanderson. After the court hearing, Gwyneth Paltrow actually goes to Mr. Sanderson and says, "I wish you well," which is a very nice thing to do. He leaves the court saying that she is a very kind person, and I think their dispute is settled. So we've just witnessed and watched an 8-day trial that was supposed to last 14 days but didn't need the extra 6 days because everyone could see through the thinly veiled plot that is Terry Sanderson. It was a cash grab and a very optimistic chance at trying to sue someone for a lot of money over something very small, and an incident that you should take responsibility for, knowing that you're doing something that is risky. I don't like this weird lawsuit thing. I've never seen a lawsuit like this, but I don't know if celebrity lawsuits are becoming a thing. And if they are, I gotta say, secretly, I am here for it because it gets more people interested in court cases like this. Of course, you have all these clownship things, but it makes for a very interesting case. And with that being said, this was the weirdest case that I've seen. It features everything that you possibly wanted. Celebrities, a weird thing that has no violence or any bad outcome, so you don't have to feel bad about this case. Nobody died. The only thing that got lost was dignity. It has a very weird person who's suing a celebrity who doesn't seem to care. The reward has been $1, and you have two lawyers who are like battling to show each other who is the worst of them all. Just a wonderfully weird case, and I'm glad that we got to see it today. That is all I have for you, and I think that I would love to show you more. I do have a new case in mind, but I'll only do it if you guys really want to see the next one, because Lawyer Leo otherwise is on holiday. We're gonna crack open a Jim Beam, because I drink on the job, and that's why they never hire me. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next case. Take care of yourselves, and don't ski on mountains without a celebrity to sue.
She ain't even gotta ask, she did a dash and bit it last. You know a dash and she know. Baby,